You go in and ball out against these chicks in the WNBA, they get mad and they get their feelings hurt. They get butt hurt. And so instead of turning to basketball and defense, we'll turn to violence.
Even after being repeatedly harassed and pulled to the ground, Sophie Cunningham managed to score 21 points and grab 8 rebounds against the Mystics. When you have a fighter like Sophie on your squad, Caitlin Clark won't have any issues.
But no doubt about it, the Indiana Fever have another star. All right? Just this quick, Sophie Cunningham, and I told you guys I had a feeling that she was going to really make her presence known.
When Sophie ultimately confronted the Mystics in a heated battle, the Fever discovered who they really were through hardship. After Kiki Arifin was thrown down, everything changed. The team changed in front of our eyes, and the Fever went from being uninterested in winning to playing with a tenacity and intensity that would last them the entire season.
It took one game to convince me Sophie's legit, a good fit for the Fever. That said, nobody runs the point better than Cece. Nobody.
This instance of resistance to rough play served as the impetus for what could end up being their defining season trait.
Cunningham has been the X factor for this Fever team. And they're down 3. They were down, if I'm not mistaken, they were down 33-18. Like, it's a 17-5 run. Every bit of it caused by Sophie.
The Mystics were quick to capitalize, but Sophie Cunningham stepped up and answered the call when the team most needed it, finishing with 21 points. Without Caitlin Clark in the lineup, the Fever looked completely lost during the first half of the game. They lacked energy, focus, and any real sense of urgency. It honestly felt like they didn't care whether they won or lost.
So that leads us to Sophie Cunningham, and it's getting ugly already out there. There was a couple of ugly fouls, and the retards, as I like to call them, the RAHTARDSs.
Sophie endured some of the most intense and violent play on the court while also taking a beating in an attempt to treat the Fever.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player.
Even though the referees kept their whistles quiet and Sophie was being destroyed outside, there was a moment that changed everything. Every time she moved, someone was hitting her. Every time she cut to the basket, someone was pushing her. And every screen she set, someone was running through her. Sophie was physically pulled to the ground by Kiki Fan in what ought to have been an instantaneous egregious foul.
Shot too strong there from Olsen. Cunningham pulls down and here's that feistiness.
There you go.
She is fierce in the game. And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before. But this is a...
When Sophie struck the ground hard, Kiki really grinned about it. Who smiles after possibly hurting another player, especially a well-respected veteran like Sophie Cunningham.
And that's Kiki Arifin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is. A ton of reaction. The smiles afterward, let's get negative. These people are loving this. It's crazy.
That served as the tipping point. When Sophie finally had enough, she leaped to her feet and confronted Kiki fans directly. By doing this, she was defending her entire team and giving the message that we would no longer be bullied.
Season game, and I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie right now, laying down.
The Fever team suddenly started playing with fire, intensity, and purpose after Sophie stood up to Kiki. They immediately put in place a full-court press that the Mystics couldn't handle. They forced turnovers, got easy baskets, and totally disrupted everything the Mystics attempted to do. Sophie's baskets, particularly her three-pointer that gave them the lead in the third quarter, became a focal point of the game. The crew united behind their season leader when Dana Bonner became involved in a heated argument with Brittany Sykes
It is
about
exactly
their
what
treatment
you want
of
to see.
Sophie.
Because the Fever, if you're looking at the box scores, like DeWanna Bonner is 0 of 4 from the field. You're looking at an 0 of 10 for Kelsey Mitchell.
Sophie's transformation from victim to leader in that one moment demonstrated why veterans are valuable, even on a team with rookie stars like Caitlin Clark. The Fever brought Sophie in for her shooting defense, and for times like this when the team needed someone to teach them how to fight, and Sophie was that person. However, let's talk more about the fouled.
We're standing on business. I mean, it's wild. It really is.
What happened to Sophie Cunningham isn't just drawing attention. It's also sparking a meaningful discussion about what the WNBA considers appropriate. Was this just physical basketball, or did it go beyond that? I mean, when one team receives multiple flagrant fouls for their treatment of a single player that isn't typical basketball that targets.
Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that.
The Mystics' flagrant fouls were incredibly common. In typical basketball, you might see 1 or 2 flagrants if the game gets heated, but when a player receives many flagrants, it raises real concerns about what's going on the floor.
I guess we're going to have wars again. I mean, seriously. This league it's really crazy. It really is crazy.
This viewpoint is understandable given that many fans and analysts are referring to it as assault rather than actual basketball after seeing the video of Sophie being repeatedly thrown to the ground. She was the target of contact that went against the rules of the game, being pushed down with excessive force, being grabbed while in the air, and being struck with needless contact that sent her flying across the hardwood.
Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
When rookie Kiki Rice purposefully tripped Cunningham, sending her crashing to the ground without any play on the ball, it exposed a troubling pattern. This wasn't competitive play. Rather, it was calculated and dangerous, demonstrating a total disregard for player safety and professional conduct. Some Fever players may be subjected to this treatment because of their media attention. The Fever have been in the spotlight, so these teams may be attempting to send a message with increased physical play.
That up, Kiki, you're going to be the next Kennedy. Yeah, she's making a bad name for herself right now. I mean, seriously.
The WNBA has always taken pride in its physicality, but there is a thin line between toughness and recklessness. Rather than addressing the growing problem of excessive contact, the league is now promoting it with advertisements after players like Sophie Cunningham are repeatedly thrown to the ground. The promotion doesn't care. Rather, it conveys the incorrect message about what should be valued on the court instead of emphasizing skill and athleticism. The league appears to be favoring physical aggression. These are top athletes, but the emphasis is moving from skill on the court to strength. The referees didn't help either. They allowed the game to get out of hand before finally signaling blatant fouls after Sophie had already been hit hard multiple times.
The WNBA is running a commercial right now, an ad, talking about the physicality in the league. And again, I've watched physical basketball. It's kind of weird for a league to just flat, I mean, I don't know, to wrap your loving arms around it and then promote it. All right, that's one way to go, I guess.
The pandemonium gave way to team togetherness. Dana after Sophie's abuse. Bonner confronted Brittany Sykes immediately. Co-workers defend one another, and Bonner defended Cunningham when she witnessed the unjust targeting.
It started from Sophie Cunningham, and then we saw DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner getting chippy with Brittany Sykes. And the reason, again, why DeWanna Bonner getting chippy with Brittany Sykes is big is because it was a change.
This dispute goes beyond a single game. Some experts speculate that there may be a plot against specific Fever players, motivated by jealousy or a response to the shifting dynamics in women's basketball, which make it impossible to.
DeWanna Bonner also gets up in Brittany Sykes' face because she pushes down Sophie Cunningham on the floor, so she goes to bat for Sophie Cunningham. And do you guys remember the Indiana Fever last season? They were not a chippy team. They were not getting in each other's faces because there were really no enforcers. I mean, Temi was an enforcer, but she was out for most of the season. And now we cannot say that the Indiana Fever does not have enforcers. All these teammates are going to bat for.
The intensity of this game was demonstrated by Sophie Cunningham, so let's talk about her stats. They're simply astounding when you take into account that she played 34 minutes, scored 21 points, pulled down 8 rebounds, and was physically targeted the entire time. Are you serious? That's elite-level performance under trying circumstances.
Especially a vet with a proven track record who is currently playing bad. If you are winning a game, do not piss off a vet on the other team. Do not piss off the vets. It's the last thing you do. When the other team, if you're playing a veteran team and they are struggling and you are killing them, do not piss them off.
Consider this for a moment. Even though Sophie was being flung to the ground several times, she was still able to post these figures. With defenders treating her like a tackling dummy who requires a unique mental toughness that few players possess, like a battle-tested warrior who gets stronger after every blow, how does a player maintain concentration long enough to score 21 points? Sophie turned every shove and push into motivation for her play, say.